Hello, my name is Emma, and in today's video, I am going to teach you a way to remember new vocabulary, new grammar, and pretty much how to remember anything you want. So, what is the name of this method? It is called the W.R.A.P method, or the W.R.A.P method. So, before I teach you this method, I have here 4 new words I want you to remember. You are going to use this method to learn these 4 new words. The words you're going to learn today are bulk, blue, coworker, and downside. So, let's get started. The W in the W.R.A.P method stands for write. Write it down. When you're learning something new, it's important to write it down. This really helps you to remember, and there's actually a difference between writing something down and typing something down. It's actually better for your memory to take a pen or a pencil and to actually write it on a piece of paper or in a notebook. So write it down can help your memory. And the nice thing about writing something down is it can help you to review something. So I want you to write these 4 words down. You can pause the video, pay careful attention to the spelling, okay, but actually write it down. After you write things down, you can do something like this, where you cover the word, you think, oh, what was the word again? B-U-L-K. Is that correct? Oh yeah, I was right. It's bulk. So the nice thing about writing things down is it helps you to test yourself as well. And the way to remember things is to quiz yourself or test yourself. The more work your brain does, the better your brain is able to remember things. So, just to keep it simple, the W in W.R.A.P stands for write it down. So now let's find out what the R stands for. Okay, so you've written these words down. You can also write down their definitions or what they mean. Bulk is when something is big or there is a lot of something. When we talk about bulk, we're usually talking about something that's large or a large amount. Blue, you might know the color blue. Blue can also mean sad. Okay, so blue is another way to say sad. I'm blue means I'm sad. We have here the word coworker. A coworker is a person you work with. Another word for coworker is colleague. And we have here the word downside. Downside is a problem or it's a con, it's a disadvantage. So another word for downside is disadvantage. So we'll come back to these words in a moment, but if you want, you can write down their definitions. Because remember, by writing things down, it helps you to remember. Now the second part of W.R.A.P method is the R. R stands for repeat. In order to remember something, it's important to repeat it again and again and again. Repeating something helps you to remember it. Now, there are different ways to repeat things. First of all, what can really help is to space out your studying or your repetitions. So for example, maybe you repeat these words on Saturday. You look at them, you think, okay, this is what they mean. You do that on Saturday. Then you repeat these words again on Sunday. Then maybe on Monday you do the same thing. Now, you might be wondering, what is the best way to repeat words? Is it good to spend the whole day repeating the words over and over again and then never look at them again? Or is it better to do just a little bit every day over a longer period of time? It's actually better to do a little bit every day. Even 10 minutes a day is amazing if you're doing it over multiple days. So when you repeat, it's better to repeat things over multiple days instead of just one. So I call that my 4-sleep rule. When I was in university, if I really wanted to remember something, I would study it, then go to sleep, study it again, then go to sleep the next day. Then I would study it. That night I would go to sleep. And then on the 4th day, I would study it again and then go to sleep. Sleep is very important for memory. So 4 sleep means pretty much 4 days. The more days you can do, the better. But for me, the minimum was always 4 days or 4 sleeps. And again, this is just another way to say that. Repeat what you want to learn every day. That is better than just repeating something on one day. Another thing I should mention when it comes to repeat is when we are learning, the first word on a list and the last word on a list are a lot easier for us to remember. These middle words are less likely going to be remembered. So if you want to remember something when you're studying, put the most important thing first on your list and at the end of your list. You can change this up every day, but you're more likely to remember the beginning of a list and the end of a list. All right, now let's learn about what the A in the W.R.A.P method stands for. Okay, so what does the A stand for in the W.R.A.P method? A stands for associate it. When we associate things, it means we connect them or we link them to information we already know or memories we already have. So we can link something new to something we already know. I'm going to give you an example. I have here the word bulk. So bulk might be a new word. I told you it means it's something that's very large or a large amount. When I think about something that's large, I think of the Hulk. The Hulk is a green superhero and it rhymes with bulk. So Hulk is something I already have in my brain. I can link this new word to it because they have a similar sound. And when I think of the Hulk, I think big. Bulk means very large. So this association can help you to remember this word bulk. So we can associate in different ways, new words. We can think about words that sound similar. So we can use sound when we associate things. Or we can associate things based on meaning, based on words we already know that are similar. We can associate things based on people we know. So there's different ways we can make associations. I'm going to give you an example from when I lived in China. I was learning different animal names in Mandarin. And the way I learned Mandarin many, many years ago, I have forgotten a lot of Mandarin, but I'll give you an example of something I remember because I made an association. In Mandarin, the word for duck is yaza. How do I remember this? Well, I imagine a duck playing jazz music. So I think jazz sounds like yaz, yaza. So I can imagine a duck on a saxophone, and that association really helped me to remember how to say this word. Okay, so let's think of some other things that can help us, some other associations. So I told you to remember the Hulk, to think of bulk. For blue, I told you another meaning of blue is sad. Well, how can you remember this? Well, I have here a sad face, and you'll notice this sad person has tears. Tears are blue. So when you cry, blue tears come from your eyes. So here are some tears. The color in cartoons or in pictures is blue, so I can remember blue. Okay, tears are blue. When we are blue, we are sad. Now I have another word, coworker. So what associations might I make with this word? Well, in English, ER usually means a person. We have teacher, manager, office worker. Many words in English that have to do with a person end in ER. So I can think, okay, this is about a person. We have ER here. We have the word work. Okay, so I can think this has to do with work. The main part of this that might be difficult to remember is the co. In English, co means together. Coworker is someone who works together with you. You can think of other words that are similar, like cooperate. You cooperate with your coworker. So that's one way you might remember this. Or maybe you have a coworker who has the co sound in their name. I don't know, like, I can't think of a good one. Courtney. You might think Courtney coworker. So just thinking about associations can really help remember. Now I have this word downside. So downside, if we imagine the word down, usually when things go down, like our money, if our money goes down, that's a bad thing. So you can remember, okay, down means bad. The downside of something is the bad side of something, the disadvantage of something. Now, when we make associations, the best associations are the funny ones, the strange ones, the ones that really help you to remember. Like, for example, my duck playing the saxophone. Imagining that really helped me to remember this word. So I really encourage you with these words to try to imagine the strangest things you can to help you remember them. Okay, so now we are going to learn about the P in the W.R.A.P method. Okay, so this is the most fun part of the W.R.A.P method, and that is the P, which stands for picture it. When we learn new things, we can really help our memory by imagining what we're trying to learn. Now, when we picture things, it's good to create an image in our head, use our imagination, and try to remember things in our head in a silly, funny, or crazy way. So, we're going to do this for these 4 words. I'm really going to try to get you to remember these 4 words. So, what I want you to do now is you're going to imagine this in your head. Remember, bulk and Hulk, very similar. The Hulk is big. Bulk means large, so very similar, or large amounts. So I want you to remember the Hulk. Now imagine the Hulk is blue. Why is his color blue? Usually he's green, but he's blue because he's sad. Okay, so you can imagine a sad Hulk whose color is blue. Okay, now beside the Hulk is his coworker, Captain America. Now, coworker starts with a C. Captain starts with a C. C-O and C-A, it almost looks the same. I'm just going to imagine that's an O for a moment to help us remember coworker, just to help our memories. So they work together. They are coworkers. So imagine the Hulk, who's blue, with Captain America. Where is Captain America sitting? He is sitting down beside the Hulk. So I want you to imagine he's sitting down beside the Hulk. Down and beside should help you remember downside. Okay, where is he sitting? He's sitting down beside the Hulk. So imagine this in your head. I'll say it one more time. You have the Hulk. He's blue because he's sad. He is with Captain America, his coworker. And Captain America is sitting down beside the Hulk to cheer the Hulk up. He's trying to make the Hulk happy. So imagine that for a moment. And now we are going to do a little quiz. Okay, so I'm going to erase these words and we're going to see if you remember them or you don't. Maybe you'll remember some of them. Maybe you won't remember any of them. But this is a great technique to help you remember important things. So let's try this. Okay, so let's see if you can remember this. So the first thing I wanted you to remember was the Hulk. What word is like Hulk and it means very large? Did you think the word bulk? You're correct. Okay, so blue was one of the words, but do you remember the meaning of the word blue? It means a color, but what's the other meaning? If you said sad, you're correct. Blue means sad. When we imagine the Hulk and his color is blue, he's feeling very sad. So the second word was blue. Okay, then we talked about Captain America. Who is Captain America with the Hulk? They're both on the Avengers. They are, so maybe you remember the last part of the word, they work together. So we can think, okay, worker, they work together and they're people. What is the first part of that word? Well, it's kind of like captain. It starts with a C. And I told you, here it's an A, but in this word, it's not an A. It means like cooperate or together. Get it? Coworker. They are coworkers. The Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, they're all coworkers in the Avengers. Okay. And what was the last word? So Captain America was sitting down beside the Hulk to cheer him up. Well, we have sit down. Oh, okay. It's not part of the word. Down. And what was the other part? Captain America is sitting beside the Hulk. Side. Downside. Okay. And again, downside. Do you remember the picture I drew earlier? I drew a picture of your money going down. That's something you never want to see. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? It's bad. Downside is a bad thing. So when we talk about downsides, we're talking about the disadvantage of something. For example, the downside of watching too many superhero movies is you start to, maybe you study less. Maybe that's a downside. If you're always watching movies, you study less. I don't really believe that's true, but that's an example of a downside. So, again, the W.R.A.P method, do you remember what it stands for? This is when I test you. It stands for write it down, repeat it, associate it, and picture it. The more work your brain does, the more you will remember things you want to remember. So thank you so much for watching this. I recommend you come and visit our website at www.engvid.com. There you can actually take a quiz on what I talked about in this video. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot more resources for learning languages, for study skills, and many other different topics. Finally, you can visit my website at www.teacheremma.com for more English resources. Thanks for watching.